of the On the Mic podcast, and you guys know that I always say I hate talking to fighters on fight week because they've got other things to focus on. Well, here we are the night before his fight, and we're going to talk about a lot. He is one of the absolute best heavyweight prospects, one of the best prospects in the sport of mixed martial arts, no matter what the promotion is. But he'll be fighting at Bellator 264 tomorrow. It's scary time because it's Friday the 13th. He is the one and only Davion Franklin. Sir, how are you?
Good, bro. How are you, man?
I'm good. So first and foremost, Davion, there's so much I want to talk to you about because you and I have gotten to know each other over your last few fights. And, it's crazy that you're talked about during and after your fight. But it's like once you're in the spotlight, that's when they talk about you. And I think you deserve a spotlight. And first and foremost, man, as a guy who came through with the Mata Leon and JacksonWink scholarship, you've kind of just really just had to show up, train, and do what you're best at. How has that been like for you, having that set up with your management and with JacksonWink?
Honestly, man, it's honestly good. I don't really feel like it was like I personally don't feel like it was like a hard thing. All I had to do was just show up.
Yeah. And there's no other way for you to, kind of look at it, right? Like it's kind of, what else could you rather ask for? Like you said, and like I said, you just have to show up. You're 3 fights into your pro career. And having that opportunity with JacksonWink and all the scholarship that it offers you, what has it been like for you being at JacksonWink, training with names that everyone knows in the MMA world, like a Jon Jones, but you're making a case for yourself. You're making a case for Davion Franklin. You're not looking to be the next Jon Jones this or the next that. So what has it been like for you over at JacksonWink?
It's like you hit it right on top of the head. Like, I'm not trying to be the next Jon Jones. I'm not trying to be the next Alistair or the next nobody. I'm trying to be the first Davion and the only Davion. There's a method to my madness, and I feel like I'm different than anybody else has ever seen in this division.
What has been the biggest thing? Because, we're gonna get into some deep talk here, Davion. I'm just gonna warn you now. But what has it been like when you have the coaches that you have the team that you have, and early on in your career, you're seeing all of this, right? You're getting that attention. You're getting those training sessions in with some of the greats, not just great training partners, but great coaches. What does having that team at your gym in Albuquerque mean to you?
It means a lot. It means a lot because I know, like, just to be like in such a great environment where like the top coaches in the world, they want to see you grow. Like, they're invested in seeing you grow. Like, for me, like, I have to give him my all, and I have to be dedicated. There's no time to slack off at all.
And I feel like you really are in the best position. Like we've said earlier, all you have to do is show up, and you're doing that. You're doing that in the gym. Obviously, that's shown, but you're doing that also in the Bellator cage. I want to go back to May 21st. The last time you put on an incredible performance. I'm weird like this. I remember dates, Davion. And after your fight, Scott Coker, Bellator president, said Davion Franklin is without a doubt one of the best heavyweight prospects in the world. No matter the promotion, no matter whatever, that's 3 fights into your career. When you were made aware of that, when you saw that, and hearing that now as we sit, just 24 hours from your next fight, what did that mean to you, those words from Scott Coker?
He just solidified everything I already thought about myself. That's what that was. It was more like, all right, I know I'm not crazy to be thinking this about myself. For him to say that, I can't be crazy. Because I've been saying this. Like, I feel like I've always known, like, I know what I'm capable of.
Where does that come from? Is it from conversation? Obviously self-confidence, right? And there, there's some stuff that I feel like, people need to know the story of Davion Franklin, and that's why I'm excited to talk to you today. But where does that self-belief, that confidence, you're always going to have that. But 3 fights in, some people would be like, I don't want to get too far ahead of myself. I don't want to think too highly of myself. I still got ways to go. And you're sitting there number 7 in the world inside Bellator already. So where did that come from? What happened where it all clicked for you? What made you know, like, oh yeah, this is my world. I'm sitting at this dinner table. This is my food.
Well, I've always had it. No matter the sport I was in, I knew I had like this, I don't want to say the gifts or talent. That sounds a little bit cocky, but I've always knew I had the ability to be like a really, really great athlete because I think I'm really, really athletic, and I know I am. But I've always had like that belief that I was gonna be great. I just needed to pick what I wanted to be great at, and stick at it, and put some hard work behind the talent. And like I said, I've always had it.
Being talented and
it also comes from like, people laughing at me when I would be like, man, I'm gonna do this when I get older. I'm gonna be the first millionaire in my family. I'm gonna, I'm gonna be the bread maker. I'm gonna be great. I'm gonna be this and that. And people laugh at me and tell me I'm pipe dreaming or not believing in me. Like, it comes from that too. It comes from like me being the only person who believed in me. So I became my own biggest fan.
Well, you're adding fans by the hundreds and thousands every time you fight, man. And we will get into your fight here tomorrow night. You're getting a spotlight, but kind of just talking about, your path to where we are now. You've done it alongside another person who received that same scholarship opportunity. And I know we've heard of teammates becoming rivals and all this crap, and I'm not trying to start a bad rivalry, but I look at the rankings. I see Davion Franklin 7. I see light heavyweight Christian Edwards 8. Is there a friendly rivalry there between you guys? You guys are both teammates. You guys both headed to the top.
I'm only in competition with myself. I don't give a damn what another man's doing. What somebody else what someone else eat does not make me shit. He could be higher ranked than me, and I still wouldn't care because I'm only focused on what I got going on.
I love it. Well, Davion, man, you're taking on a guy who's 15-0 in Everett Cummings, and for me, looking at that, you can dissect his resume. You're 3-0. All of them are inside the Bellator cage, and some people will look at this as 3-0 and 15-0, and I don't have to tell you because you're the actual fighter. You know how casual fans will look at this. I think personally, without pulling out or calling out any promotions or calling out anyone in Bellator, I think they set you up with the perfect opportunity. They gave you a guy where if you do the digging, the 15-0 is 15-0, but you're the one getting complimented by Scott Coker. You're the one who's making this a main card fight. You're the one that's training at JacksonWink. So knowing what he has done in his career, knowing what you have done in such a short time, where you sit in the rankings, and what your promotion believes about you, how do you want fans to view this fight tomorrow
night? This for me, like, this is just like, this isn't something that's unheard of from me. Like, yeah, he's 15-0, but no disrespect to him, but who has he beat? Who has he beat? And that's one thing. And I think the other thing is just like, I'm not preparing for him. He has to prepare for me,
Yeah.
He has 9 submission finishes, and he has 6 TKO finishes, meaning he likes to go to the ground. You know how I am on the ground. He doesn't like to stand up. I'm looking to put on a showcase, my friend.
You've done that in pretty much every single one of your fights. And, I think heavyweights undeservingly, in a sense, in a disrespectful way, when someone's super like athletic, they're like, oh my God, a big guy can do that. I think the first time Derek Lewis threw a flying knee in the UFC, they were like, what? Because they see a belt. You're not the prototypical heavyweight. There's no gut. There's no nut. Like, there's just raw athletic talent and a man who's coming to put away a fight, no matter if it's on the ground or standing up. How great is it for you to have the athletic build that you have and the raw athletic ability that you have, and you're able to showcase it no matter which way the fight goes?
It's great, man. I just, like I said earlier in this interview, like there comes a time where you have to add hard work to that athletic ability, because there's a saying, and the saying is hard work beats talent when talent doesn't work hard. But what happens when talent works hard?
Yeah. When we look at your resume, Davion, 3-0, obviously, like I said, about to have your 4th fight. You're doing this all with Bellator. How would you sum up like your young career so far? I'd take some fighters. Look at your opponent. He's 15-0 and not considered to be in the class that you are. All due respect to him, but there's not many people at such a young start in their career that can have their fights with Bellator, be where you're at, and have a trajectory that shoots them right to the top in the division, that no matter what promotion you're talking about, but we're focused on Bellator, they need a young name. They need someone to change the game. I'm talking to
I am
him
going to
right
change
now.
the game.
What
I'm going to change the game.
What does that mean to you? What does changing the game mean to you?
What is changing the game means to me is a guy who literally comes out of nowhere, comes from the abyss, and takes over the show. Changing the game is me as a guy, like I don't only want to win. I want to win in dominant fashion. That's my purpose. It's not just to be like the greatest and to be the best. I want to be able to look at my highlight reel and get goosebumps. Me, myself. So I'm competing against myself. I want to have every performance. I want to get better and better and outdo myself the last time I was out there.
I know they call you all day, but that sounds like Davion Scary Intentions Franklin to me. I mean, it's hard to hear that, man, because I got into the sport based off what a person goes through inside a cage and outside a cage, and develops them into a fighter, both in life and inside the cage, no matter what promotion they're in. And you really drew my attention on one of your posts recently during this camp, talking about where you've come from, all the hardships. And man, if I went and I didn't say any name and I just said, what if I told you the ESPN 30 for 30 commercials start off, right? What if I told you? And I read that post to them about talking about how all the things you had to kind of go through growing up. And then I said, oh, by the way, 3 fights into this professional mixed martial artist career, he's 7th ranked in one of the biggest promotions in the world. They would be like, no way. So let's go back to that post, if you don't mind, man. You kind of really opened up. And what was it? Was it just was it a message maybe to like fans and followers? Like, yeah, you know what? I have overcome adversity all through life.
For me, it was opening up, but I didn't think of it opening up. That's just how I felt. Like, man, I done been through so much shit that I like the kind of life I've lived is a life that you'll only see in a movie. It feels like, man. You know what I mean? That's facts, bro. That's facts. I didn't see a man get stabbed over a pork chop, bro. You know what I mean? I've slept in laundry rooms, bro. Like laundry rooms in apartment buildings and stuff like that. Like when I first came to Albuquerque, I was sleeping in my car. Fucking police is knocking on my window at 3:00 in the morning, telling me I got to move, or they're gonna, you know what I mean? So like I can go into all details, but like, man, when you know what it's like to lose in life, doing this shit becomes the easy part. Fighting, like, and honestly, that gets me fired up because when I think about it, I would never go back to that, bro. That's what I'm fighting. That's what I'm fighting against.
And I would go ahead.
No, that's just it. Like I refuse to go back to that. Go back to starving, going back to asking people to sleep on their fucking couch and people telling me no. People thinking I'm a failure because I don't play sports anymore. Family, I should say, and just close friends. But I just being at everybody's mercy. You know what I mean? Even with just jobs, trying to get my shit together, working at jobs, and just knowing that like, yo, a shitty boss can just fire you in a heartbeat if you ain't kissing enough, if you're not kissing enough ass. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just like, bro, man, fuck my old life, bro. Fuck that, bro.
And that's
why I gotta go out and take this motherfucker out tomorrow, bro.
It's like you knew the next question, Davion, because I was gonna ask you. You've mentioned multiple times already. Yeah, I'm not competing against him. I'm not competing against Everett Cummings. I'm not competing against my opponent 6 fights from now. I'm literally competing not only against myself, is what you said. You said I want my next performance to be better than my current performance. And I just have to ask everything, and I appreciate you being so raw and being so open with me about this, but is all of that, everything that you look back and say, I'm never going back. Is that one of the main reasons why you say I'm competing with myself?
Yes. And like, honestly, like when I think of that, it makes me so confident, man. It makes me so like, bro, I cannot lose, bro. If you ain't been through what I've been through, I'm not losing to you, bro. I ain't losing to nobody, but I just like, bro, like, nah, bro. Like, I'm like that, my old life, man, MMA saved my life. I'm not taking it for granted, but I do anything in my power to keep it.
Well, I don't think it's going away anytime soon. And I know, and a lot of people know that the future is right here for you, Davion. You know, one special thing about, especially being in the heavyweights, right? It's that one punch or that one knee or that one thing. Like, what, you know, you could watch two very talented, and I'm talking about casual fans. I'm talking about fans who will watch your fights out at bars and stuff like that. Heavyweights normally draw. It goes all the way back to the boxing days. Heavyweights always draw because they're waiting for that one shot. Well, you can, in the world of mixed martial arts, you can get that one takedown to go into that one spot and break off one arm if you want to. You could hit a flying knee and land one punch and finish a fight just like that. So to have that where all eyes on me type fighter because of where you're at being a heavyweight, but being able to go through and finish with one move or one series of moves so quickly, how diverse do you feel you are compared to every other heavyweight, not only in Bellator, but in the world?
I feel like I'm very diverse, not just because of like my abilities, but because of my mindset. You know, and this morning, and I appreciate talking to you because like just talking about this it reminded me like why I do this. Why? Like it's my mindset. My mindset is cerebral. You know what I mean? I lived in Chicago, South Side Chicago. My family's from Inglewood. You're in Chicago, so you know about that spot, bro.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I went to Earl School. I went to Copernicus, bro. I lived on Laughlin. I lived on Woods, bro. You know those kind of areas, bro. So you know I'm not lying, bro. That's just the slums, bro.
Yeah.
It's the slums. And I remember getting beat up I was in fights all the time, but once I switched neighborhoods and switched schools, because I got expelled, I was getting beat up every day. I was getting jumped every day. You know what I mean? I was getting jumped every day, bro. So I know what it's like to be like around a bunch of animals, bro. For real. Guys who literally live like animals. People robbing a pizza man because they ain't got no food to eat. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's facts, bro. Like, it's my mentality. I'm cerebral with this. And I told you before, like, because you know what? You know why I don't show no love to my opponents? Because, you know, if they can do what I would do to them, to me, they would.
Yeah. I'll never forget you telling me that.
They would.
Does it drive you even more, kind of just because we're both from the same area, right? Now that we've seen this story a handful of times. I mean, I can't say hundreds of times because let's be honest, you and I both know there's supposed to be 100 people per year that make it out because they're super smart or they're super athletic or they're super talented or they're an entrepreneur. And sometimes they don't, whether it's family, friends, or tragedy, they don't get out. When you look at it and I'll put you in the same conversation. You mentioned Inglewood, a Derrick Rose, right? The probably the best as far as right now, the best hometown because he got to come back home and play for his hometown city. When you look at how this city is represented and realizing like, no, like you all want to talk about gun violence. You all want to talk about how bad it is, but you don't know people like myself, people talented, people with drive and determination to be better than they were the day before. We exist. And yes, you said there are animals out there, but there's also humans out there that just want to find a way out. You have it. You said MMA saved your life. When you look at where like Chicago is, does that drive you even more to kind of put on for everything you've been through?
For sure, bro. I used to like, you know, and I got to give a lot of credit to my mom. You know, I got to give a lot of credit to my mom. We left Illinois when I was 12, turning 13. So like my little brothers and sisters didn't get to see the kind of life that I lived. That I seen or whatever. But there's a reason why they say when you live in those kind of areas, you grow up fast. You know what I mean? Like having to experience type of shit that kids shouldn't have to experience. You know what I mean? I remember when I was younger, and my grandmother used to kind of take care of me, and she would have me, and I had to be like 8 or 9, and this is in Chicago, bro. My grandma, she was paralyzed. I miss my grandmother, but she was paralyzed, and I don't even think we had a car. Looking back. But my grandmother would have me pushing her around Chicago in her wheelchair, bro. Like I'm talking like the young kid, bro. I was a kid, and she would have me like pushing her to the Social Security office and stuff like that. You know what I mean? Like that really was happening, you know, like in Chicago, you know, like I was, like I said, like my mom, I gotta give her a lot of credit because she knew, like, I think she knew that she didn't want the kind of life that she grew up with to happen to her kids. And she took us out. She took us out. Like I'm the oldest of all my siblings. And she took, like I said, I was 12 when we left Illinois. Before we left Illinois, we moved from Chicago to Galesburg. And Galesburg got a bunch of people from Chicago in Galesburg. So a lot of you know what Galesburg is, right?
Yeah,
I lived there for a little bit, but a lot of like the shit that was happening in Chicago was happening in Galesburg, you know?
Right.
So
yeah,
we got, like I said, we got out. But I give a lot of credit to my mom. I went to high school in Minnesota or whatever, but I just remember like when I went to Minnesota, I didn't fit in. You know, I was a poor black kid, you know what I mean? And I was ashamed of where I came from for the longest time. And then once I went through college and I did the NBA, not NBA, the WWE thing. I played football, and none of that worked out. I was back struggling again. I got to experience homelessness again, but on my own this time, not as a kid with my mom. You know, I got to experience hardship all over again, you know? And honestly, man, it makes you who you are. It builds character. Because I know, like, I could survive in the damnedest of times. I know I could.
You absolutely can. You talk about being the oldest, right?
Yeah.
And I know how determined you are for yourself. Yeah, I saw it 10 minutes ago when you said you're not going back to that, right? I saw that. But being the oldest sibling and knowing, you know, all the credit, you know, that you gave your mom and obviously your grandma, may she rest. But when you look at it and you go, yeah, I struggled. I went to college. I got through. I did all that. But then life knocked me back. But now look what I'm doing. I'm knocking down everything in front of me. And yes, like this is for you. This is everything that you said you were going to achieve. You're setting out to do all that. So that's obvious. But when you look at it, man, how much is it also like just letting those around you, not just proving those that doubted you wrong, but proving
I still
those
got doubters.
younger. What was that?
I still got a lot of doubters.
For sure. I think the most successful people in the world are always going to have those doubters. But when you look at those who may be looking up to you at a younger age, whether it be siblings or friends or friends or family, whatever it may be, how important is it to you to show them like, yo, I've been through it more than once, but I'm going to still keep going, and that means you can still keep going as well.
It's really important. It's because you know, like my passion. I love kids, man. And I know that sounds a little weird, but once I was a kid and I needed a role model. I didn't have any role models besides the celebrities that you see on TV, like rappers and athletes. Those are my only role models. And I always said, like, you know, I would want to be someone that kids can look up to. And that's kind of like why I try to keep like somewhat of a clean image, you know? because
Yeah, well,
the kids are the future. And I know there's kids like me out there who don't have anybody, who don't. I didn't have anybody. Like my idol was 50 Cent and Kanye West and who else? And Tracy McGrady. You know what I'm saying? Just stereotypical, like, you know, stereotypical stuff from a kid who grew up in the conditions that I grew up in. I didn't have nobody to look up to. And like I said, only people I ever looked up to were celebrities. You
well,
know?
I'll tell you this. Hopefully, I can get a laugh out of you here. But I'll tell you this, in true honesty, I've kind of gone through not exactly what you've gone through, but I've also struggled to have role models, especially on the male side growing up. So a very funny story is someone who moved out of Chicago and moved to Wisconsin. The first music I got into, because I didn't fit in either, especially in Kenosha, Wisconsin, was 50 Cent. I rode my bike 6 miles away to go get Rich or Die Trying in 2001, played it on a CD player. And then because I'm adopted with no dad, I told everybody, yo, I get to pick a dad, right? Like, that's 50 Cent right there.
I did the same thing.
Yeah.
I used to tell people 50 Cent was my dad. I did.
Yeah.
But,
So, and then at 18 years old, or I was maybe a little older than that, my aunt in New York City took me to a Knicks game. And I kind of grew up a Knicks fan because of her, because she really drew my passion for sports. First ever Knicks game, I'm in the Garden. I'm like enjoying life. And they go through Celebrity Row, and guess who's sitting front and center at my first Knicks game? I was like 50. I was like, Dad. And my aunt was like, stop. But I was like, all right. I had to let it go right then and there when I walked into the arena. But I'm telling you that story, and everyone who will watch and listen to this to relate. Like, yeah, I as a media person per se cannot always relate to a fighter, but there's a reason why I do this type of podcast rather than your typical how was fight camp, how was this, how was that. I want people to get to know Davion Franklin, the person. We see Davion Franklin, the fighter. I mean, there's not much, like, I can't go through and break down technique with you, Davion, because I can't do half the shit you can do. I don't even know if I can put on my clothes the same way you put on clothes. So I don't do that. I know you have a story, and I'm here to give you a spotlight to tell it. And without taking up too much more of your time, man, as we look forward to Bellator 264, obviously a guy, again, you take nothing away from Everett Cummings, who has stepped in there 15 times. He has walked out of there victorious 15 times. But talking to you, you are a different person. You are a different test. Just like your next fight after Everett will be another new test for you. What are you making of where you feel your career is at right now and where you plan to be, let's say, just by the end of this year?
By the end of this year, I can't really make any predictions, but I will tell you what I would like. I would like for me to go out there tomorrow and dominate this man in a fashion that no one's ever seen before. Captivate the MMA audience to where, yes, I'm making an X amount of money from Bellator, but now everybody knows who I am and everybody wants to be a part of this train I have. And I want to change my life. Every fight I go out there is another opportunity to change my life. But the only how I can do that at this point in my career is with timeless performances, undeniable performances, stuff that people are going to talk about years from now. That's the only way I can do it. And honestly, man, it's a big task, but damn it, I'm down. I'm down for it, and I'm ready. I'm knocking on the door of success, and Everett Cummings is in my way.
I absolutely love it. I love the mindset. I love your thought process. I love how you approach every single fight with all of this, man. And I'm not asking, for future predictions or I'm going to be this or I'm going to be that. But, I think sometimes when you're so young, people look at, early in your career, they'll look at where you train and who you train with. And you've already said it. Like, yeah, I'm not trying to be the next Jon Jones or the next this or the next that. But how nice is it to have that guy who, whether you're training with him or not, to see that, to hear the stories, you know what I mean? To just kind of be around that. You have, in a sense, you have a luxury, right? Because there's some people, and and they're about to hit their 4th professional fight where their head coach might be a part-time head coach and a part-time real estate agent, like, because they can't afford to have a big gym or great training partners. So, I've kind of asked you about JacksonWink, but without a doubt, Jon Jones is considered one of, if not the greatest mixed martial artist of all time. And I'm not here to talk about Jon or the UFC, but when you surround yourself around greatness, it usually breeds greatness. What is that like for you?
Yeah, I mean, when I see Jon, and this is just me being completely nakedly honest with you.
Mm-hmm.
When I see Jon Jones and I see how everybody treats him, all I think is, I want that. I don't envy Bones because I look up to Bones in a way. Like, he's the guy who inspired me to get into this sport. But there's the time for like me idolizing him and all that kind of stuff. Like me and Jon, when I see Jon, we talk as friends. Like, I feel like and a lot of times when I see him, it's we're doing like stuff that's not MMA sometimes. You know what I mean? And
Right.
but I think that time, like, I don't idolize another man. I idolize myself, and honestly, I just think that I'm the gym. I'm the hidden gem in the gym, and I just think that, like, only time is gonna tell. I think Jon Jones, he's the GOAT. He is the GOAT, but I feel like what I'm gonna bring to the table is something new that the audiences have not seen. They don't, and I just, like I said, I just need to keep getting these wins. I need to keep getting these opportunities to prove it.
I think you sold yourself a little short, and I'm going to ask you about it in this way. You just said the hidden gem of the gym. I don't know. I think it might be the hidden gem of the heavyweight division across all promotions. I think it might be the hidden gem in this sport. And I want to go back to the end of July when Bellator did what it feels like they would love, as long as, Davion Franklin is Davion Franklin, they would love to provide that same opportunity to you. And I'm talking about the way they home grew. They didn't grab him from another promotion. They didn't need to sign him off the UFC. And I'm talking about AJ McKee beating Patricio Pitbull. That was not only a huge win for AJ McKee, it was like a stamp of approval for homegrown talent under Bellator. I'm talking exactly about you, Davion Franklin. When you saw what AJ McKee did, and it's not being envious or anything like that, when you saw the way he was showered in the spotlight after that incredible first round finish, did it make you go, oh yeah, they got another one? They got another
Yeah,
one.
I was like, oh yeah. I'm like, yeah, very soon I'm gonna come to the show. But get that man his flowers, man. AJ McKee, what he did was like nothing less than awesome, bro. Like, for himself and for Bellator, because people actually think, well, like, not think, but there's a lot of people who throw him in those conversations with top UFC fighters. You know what I mean? That's like, so now all of a sudden, Bellator do have people who can actually legitimately compete with UFC, and it's not just like the second promotion. You know what I mean? Because we have guys that can beat guys in the UFC. So I definitely seen that, and I definitely got motivated for sure. And like, honestly, man, AJ McKee is a black man. I always respect a black man who's doing this thing.
Yeah, no, I think it's incredible on all sides, everything you touched on. And one other thing that was touched on that night was Scott Coker going, look, I know they don't want to do it. I'm down for cross promotion fights with the UFC, or we've seen Ryzen, right? But he's like, yeah, I'm down. If they want to do it, I'm down. And I really don't think he was just talking about AJ McKee. And I'm not just saying this because you and I have talked in the past, or because you're sitting here right now, or because you could crush me with one punch. I'm telling you the truth. When I heard him say that, I was just like, there's so much young homegrown talent like yourself, like your teammate Christian Edwards. There's so many guys that are coming up through Bellator that I'm like, oh, this is the blueprint. This is the like, this is exact. They have this opportunity now. So not to jump too far ahead, but as you continue to climb your way to the top, if Scott Coker is going to continue to call for that, let's say they'll never do it. Let's say the UFC will never do cross promotion fights. having your name, and we know some of the big names on the UFC heavyweight side. Obviously, Jon is in there. Francis holds the belt. Cyril Gane just had got the interim title. But having your name, even just discussed and debated and talked about it with those names, what would that all do for you?
Like I said, like, you know, the reason I'm not only in this sport to be like a legend, but I'm in this sport to change my life. And that's all that does is just solidify me more as a household name when it does happen. And, you know, like I said, the biggest goal is to never go back to where I came from, you know. So all that does is just solidifies everything and validates it.
Well, I truly believe there's very few. There's a lot of fighters who go through life. There's very few who have to defeat life before they walk into the cage. And I think you've done a hell of a job defeating life and overcoming so much. And it's crazy to talk about you as someone who it feels like you've been in the sport for 10 years, but you're just getting started and you have such a bright future ahead of you. You will take on Everett Cummings on the main card at Bellator 264. If all goes according to plan, will we see Davion Franklin again in 2021?
That's the plan. That's the plan. Yeah.
Because you know now, like with a number next to your name, I know how it goes for certain fighters. When you got the number next to your name, it's fight. What's my new number? How quickly can I get back in there?
Yeah, absolutely, man. If I have to, I'm just gonna start knocking. I mean, if I have to. I mean, I'm sure eventually it's gonna happen, but I just got to start knocking these guys off in front of me in the rankings. You know what I mean? People like tell me they want to see me fight Jake Hager, but I don't think he wants that fight. I don't think Jake Hager is in this sport to be like a champion. I think he's in this sport just to prove that he can fight and be a fake fighter.
So is it more? Yeah, oh, for sure. Is it more important for you then to, let's say after this fight, start turning your attention to, yeah, I might be 4-0, but you guys got a number that's ahead of me, and I'm going to go take that number?
Yeah, most likely, yeah. But honestly, Bellator knows what they're doing. You know what I mean? If they feel like I got to take, I mean, also, I'm like with these kind of fights and like the Tyler King fight, I'm getting paid. You know what I mean? That's me. That's putting money in my pockets. You know what I mean? So, you know, but like, make no mistake, I'm in this game to be a champion. I'm not in this game to get paid. I'm not doing it for the dollar. I'm doing it for the legacy and to be a champion.
Well, I can't wait to continue to watch your career grow. I can't wait to see you inside the cage tomorrow, Bellator 264, because this will be out, you know, what is this, Thursday night? I don't even know what day it is anymore, but we will have it up before your fight. Davion Franklin out of JacksonWink in Albuquerque with, you know, great Mataleon scholarship. Like we opened it up by saying, all you got to do now is show up, and you're doing just that, man. And I can't wait to see you take on Everett Cummings tomorrow night at Bellator 264. Before I let you go, is there any last words or anything you want to say before I let you go?
No, I don't have anything I want to say. I mean, everything I want to say is gonna be said after I get my hand raised tomorrow.
Well, I hope we can do this again then very quickly.
Absolutely,
afterwards.
Bro. You will, bro.
It's rare that I get the pre-fight and post-fight, but you got a lifetime invite on this, man, on this show. So I definitely would love to chop it up with you after Bellator 264. He is truly one of the best heavyweight prospects, if not the best heavyweight prospect in the world. He is Davion Franklin, sir. I appreciate your time.
Thank you, bro. I appreciate you being on the show.